Mr. Zimmer?
Thank you, Board President. Thank you, Ms. Riley and Superintendent Daisy. Let me, not to respond to the speakers, but I do want to respond to the Gardner parents who have come and let you know that both Dr. Daisy and I have heard these concerns. We are working on it, and we will, if there's any possible way to continue services, I know we will try to find a creative solution.
Yeah, I mean, we should repeat, that issue isn't closed. The idea is if we can maximize new enrollment, will we get reimbursed for the new enrollment would allow us to continue. That's what we're working on.
We are working on it,
That's right.
And I thank the superintendent. I want to reiterate that the problem is at the state level and emphasize the board president's, I'll add a new adjective, it is criminal. What we are doing at the state level and inexcusable. And it continues to create a bigger and bigger problem every year. I want to emphasize that there is also a federal problem. Every time we talk about it, we must remind ourselves that we start with an enormous structural deficit because the federal government underfunds the IDEA mandate. It is supposed to be funded at 40%. It is funded at 17%. It creates hundreds of millions of dollars of a structural deficit of services we will never not perform, but we are owed that money. And last, I do reiterate the thanks we have to all of our collective bargaining units. Ms. Riley and Superintendent, the area where I want to focus on and where I need some movement before I can vote affirmatively today is the issue of declining enrollment. We talk about it and talk about it and talk about it as if it is a given. Declining enrollment is a very, very, very significant issue. We don't talk about it in the full light of day, and I need to talk about it in the full light of day. Specifically, this year, approximately 14,000 students, additional students, will enroll in charter schools that we have authorized. In 11-12 this year, and then in 11-12, another 12.1 million, and another 11 million in the year after that, for a total of an additional 37.3 million, bringing the number to, 37.3 thousand, bringing the total number by the year 2014 to over 100,000 in LA, in the boundaries of LAUSD, which is almost 18% of our total student enrollment. I'm not going to get into the many issues around special education and equal access. That's actually not the way I want to approach this question. But we absolutely have to approach this question. We absolutely have to have a strategy around declining enrollment issues. I'm going to point to two examples, absent of a district strategy, of where we are actually making progress. Okay? The first is in West Hollywood, at Laurel Elementary School. Before we opened the SPAN school at Laurel, 11 total students from the greater West Hollywood area attended LAUSD Middle School. In 2 years, because we have opened a SPAN school and listened to the concern of the parents in that community, over 160 students just in 2 years, and we've made a lot of missteps, over 160 have returned. That's 8 or 9 positions right there. In Venice, Broadway Elementary School, 6 years ago, in danger of being closed because the enrollment was declining so significantly. On-the-ground leadership had nothing to do with me, the board, or any superintendent. On-the-ground leadership identified an opportunity to open a Mandarin dual immersion program. They have waiting lists of over 60 for that program. The school is so full, they're looking for ways to put bungalows on that campus. That is, and if we plan for instructional pipelines through the system, that is ADA returning to our system. That is the buffer against declining enrollment. And there is no district-wide strategy to address it. We talk about it and talk about it as if it is a given, as if it is something that drops from the sky. It does not drop from the sky. It's intentional. And at this point, a lack of a strategy, a lack of an urgency to address it. And I'm not talking, I mean, people will come at me and say, oh, you're trying to cap charter school enrollment. I never mentioned the word charter school in West Hollywood. All we did was open up an opportunity for people to have a middle school option within their community. That's all we did. And so what I'm very interested in, Superintendent, is two things. I am very interested in a tiger team. I'll take a tiger team, I'll take tigers, lions, and bears. I'll take anything to urgently address this and to have a district-wide strategy where we look at our map of the district and look at where there are arenas of opportunity where we can create in-district choice that parents are going to choose, and I didn't even mean to do this. Like, I was just trying to listen to people, and we're getting ADA back. If we build the instructional pipeline, they are looking to stay in the system, but we don't have a district-wide strategy to invest in it and do it. It's going to take some investment. And I want to point to a particular area of investment that I hope you can get back to me even sooner on, Superintendent. I want to point to the magnet school waiting list. We have 29,000 students on a magnet school waiting list. If we were, and by the way, and I'm not pushing for a policy change this moment. When students apply to charter schools, they can apply to as many charter schools as they want to. When students apply to our magnet schools, they can only apply to one.
That's right.
And I understand there are reasons for that, but I'm just, no, it's only one. I thought it was 3 too. It's only one. We have 29,000 students on that waiting list. If we were to be intentional, intentional and strategic about even reaching, opening up spaces, opening up programs, SAS programs, dual immersion programs, other programs strategically in areas where we wouldn't have to provide extra transportation. If we even got 1/10 of the 29,000, 1/10 of the 29,000, that would be $14.5 million in additional revenue coming into the system. That translates into 514 FTEs. Now, I'm not going to the place of the reserves, but I will say this, and I will just throw this out there without making it a formal proposal. In our initial budget, we had budgeted borrowing or not investing, or I don't remember how we did it, $50 million in workers' comp. In the budget you're presenting us today, it's $30 million. I understand that. I'm not into striking it in there. If we bet that we could have a strategy that could reach 1/10 of the magnet students only, forget about the other initiatives, we would only need to take $14.5 million from there. Bring back 500 FTEs, further stabilize the district, reduce the exodus that's being caused by the chaos that exists out there, and we would begin the road to this progress. Now, I would ask you, the one area I'm not challenging anything else that's been presented. Of course, I'm uncomfortable with a lot of things. I think everybody up here is. But I would like, Superintendent, for you to report back to us if there was a strategic way to increase the amount of money we were either not putting in or taking from, not the strategic reserves, but the workers' comp, to not even the level that we were initially at, so that we can, and this is I'll stop here. I very much appreciate the work that you've done and the struggle that everybody has here. We come from different perspectives, but we're all trying to get through this. I know this is the best budget that we can have at this moment, but without aggressively addressing a couple of these issues, this is not an I believe in you budget. And what our folks out there who are struggling the most right now, who have tried to give their best to kids in these last 2 years of pain, need to have an I believe in you budget, a we can do it budget. And so, Superintendent, I ask of you, at a bare minimum, to initiate a Ty and Liger or Bear team to get back to us by September with a strategic plan of how we can begin to address declining enrollment, not by attacking charters, but simply by investing in more options. Because what I've seen in my district is when we make that investment, they come. And that's all I ask.
So we would be glad to
Thank you. Anyone else, board members? Ms. Lamont?